Alright guys, I want to show you how to create a search box for a repeating group without using the search box form. So this will be just a simple input field that I'm going to create here to show you how to do this search. So first of all, I want to create this search box only searching for names. So we need to add a input, a regular text input that should go down here. Just going to change the placeholder to search, for example, it doesn't matter. And now we need to change the data set for the repeating group. The data source, by the way, sorry. So the name of the data type is forms that I created with that 4 items, name, age, gender, and address. So now we need to create a constraint for this repeating group. Since we're searching for a name, so we're going to do name contains, which means that any letter that we type that it is in the name will return a result for this search. So a name that contains that input that I just created, the input search value. And now let's see how this behaves. Let's see if everything is blue, everything is all right. So now let's see what's happening. I forgot one thing. So it's good that this thing just happened because I can show you one thing. So there's one thing that you need to tick. It's the ignore empty constraints, which means that it's going to ignore if that search box is empty. So you need to tick that thing. Let's refresh our preview. So remember that this search box is only searching for names. So if I do Alessandro, it's going to show the first item related to name Alessandro. I can also search for John Smith. John, since I use the operator contains, if you just type like a part of the name, so it will show the proper result. But there's one problem. Let's see what happens if I type lowercase j. Nothing turns up. So I'll show you how to fix that now. So to fix that, so we need to go back to our editor, and then I'm going to go back to the data, and I'm going to create another field called searchable text, which will be a text. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to convert all the inputs, in this case the name, to lowercase. So to do that, so we're going to change the workflow when the button submit is pushed. So since we created everything, so we already created this data entry, so we need to create another step, which is the make changes to thing. Which thing? Result of step 1, which is creating a new form. I'm just going to move this back to the right place before the reset relevant inputs. And now we can find the searchable text, and we can equal to result of step 1 when the entry was created. And then we're going to pick name. And then we need to make sure that we choose this operator here, lowercase, which means that no matter what the user types, if they use a capital letter or a lowercase letter, so this will always convert the name to lowercase. So let's see what happens now. But we also need to change the search for the constraint on the repeating group. So now we need to change, we're not using name anymore because name contains capital letters in a mix of everything. We don't want that. That's why we just created the searchable text. So we're searching for a searchable text that contains the things that we typed in that search box. So we need to find the input value, and then there's another thing now we can't forget. So even here we need to do the lowercase operator as well, because in this case, no matter what the user types in the search box, will always act as it was everything lowercase. So since we converted the name to lowercase, and now we're searching for something lowercase, it will always show the results. So we don't need to worry about that. So now everything is correct. Let's click again and see everything is blue. All right, let's refresh our preview. So now pay attention. So let's type Alessandro, and it didn't work. And then it's good that that thing happened because we haven't updated our data entry with the new searchable text field, right? So let's just create another entry here first, and then pay attention what's going to happen. So we're going to type Alessandro capital, and it shows up the result. But so since we converted the name to lowercase, even if we don't use the A capital, it should return the good result. And that just happened. But this is the first thing we have to do whenever we do this kind of searches. So there's another thing that you guys might be wondering. So what if I want to search for all the items, for all the fields of the database? For example, age or gender, or even one piece of the address, right? We could use, there's a different type of operator here. We could use, I'm just going to create a new one here. We could use any field rather than like a specific one. But sometimes we have more fields. We have like plenty or many fields in a data type that we don't want to use it to affect our search in our database. So what if we just want to pick like age and name, or age, name, and city? So to do that, we need to go back to our workflow. And then there's one very interesting thing that you can do here that I just found out today. So if you like very carefully hover over the end of the expression, you can see the text cursor of your mouse. So you need to make sure you see it, and then you click it, and then you give it a space. And then now you can add all the pieces of information into the same field. So right now it's the name, but you can also add the age, for example. I can show you how to do it. So since you click it using whenever you saw the text cursor, you can insert dynamic data and then start all over again, another expression. So result of step number 1, which is creating a new form. And then you can go age. And then age, like in this case, we don't need to use the lowercase because it's just numbers, right? It doesn't matter. Right, so right now we're adding this piece of information to the searchable text field. So we don't have only name now, we also have name and age. And you can carry on this. Let's say you want to add, you just give it another space just to separate a little bit. And let's say you want to add this person's city, for example. So you insert dynamic data again, result of step 1. We can pick address, and then now we can use the operator called extract to extract just a piece of information from the address. You go extract, and then you can pick city, and then don't forget to, in this case again, pick the lowercase to avoid to make sure that the users, whenever they type a city, even if they don't type with the capital letters, will always show the result. So lowercase. So now we add all those fields, all that information into the searchable text field, right? So if we go back, remember that we don't need to change this because all the information is inside of the searchable text, right? But that entries, they haven't been updated yet. So I'm just gonna create a couple more. I'm just gonna update here. I'm just gonna create a couple of new ones. I'm gonna submit. So now we have all this information. Remember that now we're searching for name, age, and city. So we've got Lincoln. I think we've got Palm Beach. We've got Christchurch as Central City, and Lincoln. So now remember that we should update these entries in the database. But it's just test with the last one, which is the one that used the last version of the app. We got Mike, right, it works. Mike, lowercase, it works. If we go 45, it works. And then if we go like Christchurch, see, Christchurch, but you can always test that later. See, Christchurch worked. I think if I add this, it won't work anymore. It takes a bit longer to disappear, but you can always check. See, Christchurch still works. If we go back to the app and then we go back to the database, and we can check that entry. See, like the searchable text now has got 3 different type of data. We got the name, we got the age, and we got the city, Christchurch. So it's working. So whenever you want to use only some specific for the system to search for, you can always use this. You can create a new field called whatever you want to call it. I just call it searchable text, and you can add all the information inside of that field, and then the search will work properly. Thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and then if you have a suggestion like how to do this in a different way, please let me know in the comments below. Or if you have any questions, I might be able to answer those questions. Thanks a lot, guys.